this morning, like after, I don't know, it was like 1:00 this morning, ROH sends out a tweet from a press conference that was not a real press conference, but a press conference nonetheless.
Kayfabe. Yeah.
Kayfabe press conference where Ian, wait, was it Ian? Yes, Ian was like, "Here is our chairman, Tony Khan," and so you have like Jerry Lynn is there, and so is Stokely. They're both the board of directors. And then it's Shibata and Daniel Garcia, and they just randomly announced that this is going to be the match for the pure title.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, they were just like, it was, so they took questions from two reporters, one for each wrestler. It was funny because like they're like, we'll take a question, and he's like, you right there. And so obviously in a normal media scrum, you say your name, who you represent.
Right.
Person just, they're showing people obviously from the back, so you can't see their faces. You just so, and he asks Shibata, which was a very weird question because I think we all know the answer, but he said,
right.
He asked Shibata, is this the toughest competitor you've ever faced? And that is nothing against Daniel Garcia, but it was just a very odd question. So Shibata's translator asks him, tells him what the question is, and Shibata says in English, "I don't like his dancing."
Ah!
And that offended Daniel Garcia, as you can imagine. So Daniel's like, "Well, I'm not a wrestler. I'm a sports entertainer. I don't wrestle." And was like, I don't know. It was really funny. And so then they stand up, and they're like they're standing face to face, and like Shibata's in a white t-shirt and Daniel Garcia's in a white tank top. And it just was like, oh, this is super professional. Yeah, it was just really weird the way they did it. And so, I mean, it makes sense, obviously, because they were just in the 4-way at Forbidden Door, but Forbidden Door, and then there was the Dynamite stuff leading out to it. But yeah, it was just a very weird way to set up the match. I was like, I mean, I guess they're trying different things to see what works and what doesn't. They've got to make, like, this pay-per-view is Friday and the main event is now not happening. We're hoping Athena versus Willow is not official. Like, there's no tag match. They are not doing my free idea of Punk versus Samoa Joe for the TV title. They did not take my advice. So they had a match they did a thing on Thursday. They did a quick little tournament, and the winners were Shane Taylor and Dalton Castle, and they will wrestle this Thursday, and the winner of that match will face Samoa Joe then the following night. Yes. Okay. It's very weird and thrown together. I mean, it
seems like Tony's dressed a little thin right now, if that's the way that's shaking out.
Yeah, because so there have been, the last few weeks, there have been a ton of comments about how ROH has turned into dark. First of all, it's not a bad thing. Not necessarily. Like, I watch a lot of dark, and I do like indie talent getting shots, and that's where people were. I mean, that's where the Acclaimed came from. That's where Red Velvet came from. Britt padded her record down there to get the number 1 contender shot. There's been Willow wrestle down there a lot. Like, there's a lot that happened over there, for as much as people like to shit on it. A lot of good stuff came out of it.
Most of that has to do with people not wanting to consume a YouTube show versus a TV show. Sure. And that's just that's generational weird.
But ROH, they did start off very hot. It has fizzled out some. Like, I will give them that. There are some things that are just not as interesting, and it is, in some cases, it is just matches. They don't really seem to be building storylines outside of Athena, and maybe some stuff with Mark Briscoe. But then also, I guess that kind of goes back to the argument, because it was supposed to be they were going to keep ROH and AEW separate. Well, they aren't doing that, because everybody but Athena is, other than the Willow. I mean the Willow, the Owen. They're all over the place. Like, and then you have AEW wrestlers coming into ROH, which I don't have a problem with. But if you're gonna say we're gonna keep them separate, then you've got to keep them separate. You've got to do something about that. And I do think part of it is because Obviously Collision is the focus, and Collision reminds me of the beginning of ROH. It was very exciting. They were having all of these things, and then I think part of it, I don't know if it's because they're not in Orlando anymore. They're taping the shows before Collision. They've been in Canada, like if they're just trying to get their footing, like trying to do all of these shows. And so maybe now that they have finished their shows in Canada and they're coming back to the States, maybe they'll figure it out a little bit. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of different things going on, and there are some issues. I think that they can be corrected, but they've got to be corrected soon. But yeah, it just seems like he definitely has got to delegate some stuff for sure. I think
that just seems like, I mean, you've got a whole pay-per-view coming up in a week, and you have and somebody got injured, and you have nothing on your pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, what are you selling? Right. It's a week
so
out.
Right now, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, the only two official matches are the TV championship, which we don't even know. Obviously, we don't know yet who Samoa Joe is wrestling.
Whoever wins that
right.
match.
So we know that is happening, and now we know for sure the pure championship. There's no tag match right now. So as of right now, the Lucha Brothers they're not on this pay-per-view so far, like we'd have, and they've not really been doing. I'm sure there's going to be some 6-man. They have been doing some stuff. ROH has been, outside of Athena, they have been doing a lot with the 6-man titles, which is the Embassy have those titles. And they've been doing some stuff with Shane Taylor and the Workhorsemen, but Shane Taylor is in this TV title match now, or potentially could be in the TV title match. So I guess, they're not competing for it. They're probably there's the Kingdom. They've been doing the story with the Righteous and how they've been trying to keep Stu from going back to Dark Order. Evil Uno show up, so I'm sure that's going to be a match, but there's just nothing that's official really outside of those two matches, and the pay-per-view is Friday, and I know there's always complaints about how Tony books pay-per-views, but generally his pay-per-views are booked a little bit better than these.
You see where it's going at least.
Right. Yeah, I have no idea what they're doing with the tag, because I mean they've had so the Kingdom have been wrestling a lot, but they've been wrestling mostly Darius Martin and actually Andretti, which they've been great. But they're but the Lucha Brothers have been on there I think one time in the last few episodes. They were in that really great, but it wasn't even a tag match. It was that really great match. It was them and Vikingo and Commander versus Workhorseman, Shane Taylor, and Gringo Loco. That's the last time that they've been on ROH, and so they're not even really building. It's just they are not helping their argument that they are turning into dark when they're not.
Right.
When they're kind of just all over the place. So they've got to get stuff figured out. And I was and the summer is only going to get crazier because All In is coming, All Out, Grand Slam. Granted, there's not an ROH pay-per-view. Unless I'm mistaken, this is the last pay-per-view until Final Battle. I think ROH has only been doing 3 pay-per-views. So they've got some breathing room there, but they've still got to tell these stories, or I don't know what we're doing. So, and I have no idea who they're going to put against Claudio. I was looking at that roster, and I'm like, who the hell are they going to put in there? Because I was can't do Shane Taylor, can't do Dalton Castle, unless they do the loser of that match, because obviously the winner faces the TV champion, unless the loser faces Claudio. So maybe Shane Taylor wins, and it's Shane Taylor versus Joe, and then maybe it's Dalton versus Claudio. Which doesn't. Okay. So you lose the tournament, but here's a title match. I don't know what I can't. Maybe they're bringing in somebody from AEW to face him. I don't know what they're doing. So
I do not know what they're doing either.
And I watch every week.
I know, right?
I don't know what's happening. So hopefully ROH has good stuff. They have a really great foundation, and I really hope they figure it out. Nikki said the loser is really in the winner in that case. Yeah. If you lose a shot at the TV title, but then get put in a match for the world championship, yeah, you're the winner in that case. That's weird. It's fair. I don't know if that's what they're doing. I can't figure out who is going to face Claudio, because I was because Zach is busy. He's in a tournament. Like, there's a lot of people in G1, so I don't know. I assume they'll just bring somebody in from AEW. That's the only thing that I can think of that they do. I really don't know what they're doing. Maybe they bring in Coda. Maybe they give us Coda. Maybe it's Coda versus Claudio. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going to happen there.